It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. Welcome to the Shade Cinema Podcast. I'm Chris, and these are my lovely guests. We have two recurring faces, and we have two new faces. Introduce yourselves, new faces.
You want to go first?
Sure, thank you. Hi, my name is Anita, and I'm very excited to be here.
Hi, my name is Sato, and I'm also very excited to be here.
My name is Panos.
I could take it or leave it.
I beg your pardon?
Okay, so today we are going to talk about, well, you can probably guess, Harry Potter. And
Wait, I thought it was Star Wars.
What did you think of the Kenobi finale?
Goodness.
Ballsy.
So today we're going to talk about Harry Potter, and we'll get into our thoughts about the series afterwards. I'm sure everyone has a lot of very contradicting and very controversial thoughts about it. But before we actually start the video, like the fucking video, okay? Like the video.
Like the video, guys.
Now, okay? You don't have any other chance to do it. It's now or never.
No, you wrong for that. You wrong for that.
Oh, that's so bad.
He has to watch it now. He has to watch it.
I love how we all know.
That's how he gets his subscribers.
That's your thumbnail right there.
Dude!
Oh my gosh.
So,
Did not see that coming.
Bruh.
So like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to listen to on Spotify, the link will be in the description below. If you guys want to listen to Anchor as well, you can also it's also in the link in the description below. And today we will start with this simple question. Well, it's not very simple. It's quite complicated.
Bruh.
So the question is, do you believe that Harry Potter and Voldemort, who are the good guys and bad guys for those who don't know who Harry Potter is, do you think that they have a symbiotic relationship? Like as in, like their existence is kind of like interconnected in some way.
Like Joker and Batman?
Yeah, I guess. You can say that.
I mean, this is a complicated question, but I will go with no.
I mean,
What do you mean by that?
I mean, spoilers for everyone that hasn't seen it. I mean, it's been like how many years now?
20.
20?
More?
No.
No,
When's the last time that...
Well,
11 years
98
since
was the
the
first
last
book
movie.
that came out.
Yeah, but when did the last movie come out? I'm
2011.
giving a margin of error for people that...
1 years ago.
1 years ago, 11 years ago? Okay. So for people that haven't watched it, go watch it. He dies, right?
Who, Voldemort?
Yeah, Voldemort
Well,
dies.
Fuck.
Well, they both die.
Yes, but we'll get into that, I guess, a bit
Yeah,
later. Yeah. But, yeah, like, he ultimately dies, so... You know, I mean, and Harry's still living, so he doesn't really have a symbiotic relationship with him anymore. So
Yeah.
you can kind of say no.
Panos, what do you think?
Personally, I see it more as a parasitic relationship because Harry doesn't really rely on, and in my opinion, I don't see like him like. There's no need that Voldemort fulfills for Harry, whereas I feel like in a sadistic way, Voldemort he's so thirsty for Harry. Like he's so and this guy is always like thirsty for challenge. Like you see it,
And for a nose.
he's so like proud and like he never gets congested. So,
Honestly, I think it's worth not having a nose for that.
honestly, like have you ever seen Voldemort have a cold? I don't think so. But
I cannot
no.
tell you. It's confidential.
Anyway, I don't want to know. I don't want to know Voldemort. But I feel like it's like Voldemort's a parasite. Like all influence that he has on Harry is negative. We see it more in like Order of the Phoenix and stuff too. You see that like Voldemort's influence on him because of the Horcrux. It even takes hold then, even though we don't know that it's a Horcrux then. Mm-hmm. We see it take a hold. You see him have like these fits of anger. You see him see through the eyes of Nagini the snake and all this stuff. And you see him get angry as the story progresses, like from there on out, like he has more just fits of rage and anger. And I feel like a lot of it is because like Voldemort's messing with his mind, and then no one's helping him out. A lot of it is just him being a teenager, but also just like, being angsty.
I'm gonna go back to your initial point, which was that it's a parasitic relationship, not a symbiotic one.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Oh yeah.
Wait, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you explain what the difference is?
Okay, so symbiotic means that there's like sort of a benefit for both parties.
Yeah.
But parasitic means that like
It's just
one person's leeching off the other.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with that because I think that Voldemort being there made Harry a much greater wizard. Like it pushed him much more further along the development, I think. So by that point, like if Harry wasn't challenged as much as he was, he kind of would have ended up like Neville. Like he would have become a great wizard eventually, but not as great as he ended up being.
Well, technically, it was either him or Neville.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true.
So yeah.
So that's why what was it? Bellatrix went to kill Neville's parents.
Yeah, but I'm sure Harry would rather be like mid and have everybody be alive instead of you know what I mean?
No, but
like I got Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Maybe in hindsight, but in the moment when he's a teenager, he like how what was it? Snape says he relishes in the fame.
Yeah, that's true.
I do get that. Like I remember being in high school and like my mass murderer, for instance, really made me appreciate life.
Jesus Christ. Okay, like hold on. I just want to bring it down to a mercy. I want to bring it down to a more serious note, though. Going back to your question, you bring up a pretty interesting point about it being like a symbiotic relationship, rather than it being parasitic. The way I see it, I think Voldemort kind of represents like your evil thoughts, like as a person.
Okay.
Like if you were to actually like compare.
Are you saying Harry's racist deep down?
Wait, why?
Because the
Oh shit!
Because he's feeding the dark wolf.
But no, yeah, I think Voldemort kind of like represents like your evil thoughts, and Harry is sort of kind of encompasses like ourselves and like our struggles, our challenges in our lives, and how we're supposed to deal with our problems and sort of face away from that evil. But it's a good opportunity to show that evil is always there, and like he does the right thing with like he does the right thing to deal with it.
So like the evil is like it's not where there is symbiotic relationship. It's more like they're yin and yang.
Yes.
Like,
but
is that what you mean?
But there is something that he learns from it as well, though, right?
Okay.
And also, it did give him opportunities to become a better wizard. Like, he became a better person after all of this. Like, imagine if he didn't have that part of himself. If you think back to all the movies and, like, all the help he got from all these people and everything that he witnessed and he encountered, none of that would have happened. He would have been a regular student and had a
That's the thing.
boring
Like
exactly.
like he would have had a mediocre life, and then he ended up changing the wizarding world for the better because he in the epilogue he worked at the Ministry of Magic and reformed it, right?
As
an
Aura.
So it's AUROR. I didn't know that. Like when I was watching a recap, and then it's like Harry Potter went to be an aura. Like what the fuck,
Like
an
a paddle?
or and like an or like OR like gold in French. Like
But you have to
or
look past
like
the
or
accent.
like or like or what? But no, it's like orr, like AUR or R, which is basically like the what was
They
it,
fight
the
off
police.
dark
Like they're
wizards.
like
They're the
the
Gestapo.
they're the ministry's police.
Yeah. Well,
So they're the Gestapo. So Anita, what about you?
I kind of want to piggyback off what Chris said. I kind of agree with him out of everything here. I don't think Harry would be Harry if this didn't happen to him, and especially because it happened to him when he was a baby.
Yeah.
So I think like this moment shaped his identity for like his whole life. So the moment it happened, so when he was a baby, it already became a symbiotic relationship for life.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. What was interesting is like Harry Potter wouldn't have been Harry Potter unless Voldemort came to kill him that night, and then like the curse rebounded, right?
Yeah.
So, but what about like good and evil? Is there like a symbiotic relationship between good and evil?
You can only be one in the presence of the other, right?
So you can only be good if there's evil. or can you
Well,
be
yeah,
evil?
by definition,
Yeah.
right? Like you can't have good things because if everything's good, then everything is just
Like the
it's
way
ju-
I
you
see
can't
it,
call it good. If everything's the same, you can't call it good. So it's like you only have something, or you only have something evil when something's good by comparison.
there can't be light without darkness.
Yeah.
But what about, like, let's say in the world of 1984, where everything is bad? Like in 1984, the government in that story controls everything, controls information, literally, like, almost completely shapes reality. And in that story, the only kind of like glimmer of light is the main character, but there's like an overwhelming presence of evil, and like the evil eventually sort of, like, spoiler alert, the evil eventually vanquishes the good in that story. So so in that case, like, I don't think like one
Right, but in that scenario, good things existed before.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but like once, but what about like once if the good thing has been vanquished or the bad thing has been vanquished, then is there like, would there still be good or evil, or would it be where like,
Well, no, it would just be
The
all
standard-
that would exist is that would be the standard.
so the standard would change?
Yeah.
You would say,
Mhm.
okay.
Just like standards nowadays, like there's things today that we're all completely fine with, whereas like let's say 300 years ago it would be like an affront to morality, and then you have other things where it's like we're way too like we really care about it and we're like, no, this is fucked up, whereas 300 years ago it would just be like, who cares, whatever. There's a lot of stuff, like if you get into a scuffle at the local tavern and you used a rapier to stab a dude, it's just like, oh well, what doth he say about your maidenhood? Like, like nobody cares. It's like, oh, you said something, then you deserve to get clapped. That's kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, especially with things that when it comes to things that are more like about aggression and violence, like
Okay.
our attitudes to that have changed. And then there's also things that like what
Yeah.
we would consider evil or good.
Yeah, if you think about it, like let's say during the times of the Roman Empire, they had like gladiatorial combat. We even did a review of not a review, but like a breakdown of Gladiator, and like in that movie, you can see that like the whole idea of people going out in the middle of like in an arena and then just slaughtering each other for the amusement of other people was like something that was accepted. But now, if you look at that, it's like, oh, that's bad. It's wrong to do something like that. So the standard, I guess, yeah, like you're right, like it changes over time. And said something that like something interesting, which was that there's like sort of similarities between Harry and Voldemort throughout the movies. What do you think? What are some of the similarities and parallels you noticed between Harry Potter and Voldemort throughout the movies or throughout the books?
Oh, there's quite a lot of parallels. The way that they were brought up, both of them were orphans.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, both of them were orphans. The only difference in there that I would say is that, well, they were both brought up in less than in negative upbringing. Like they had a negative upbringing. So like Harry had his aunt and uncle, which rest in peace to the uncle, really great guy.
Oh yeah, it's true. He died. I think he died a few years ago.
Yeah, he died a few years ago. And then you had Aunt Petunia, who was his mom's sister. So she almost would take pity on him, but like, not, you only saw that up until the 5th book or movie. Something that the movies don't show anyways. But then you had Voldemort. But then you had Voldemort he was grown up at the orphanage, and he stayed there up until Albus meets with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that.
So you said the orphanage?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Panos?
Oh, well, the Sorting Hat said that, like, what is it? Harry could have been classed into Slytherin, so they also potentially could have been from the same house because they have similar characteristics there.
But was that because of Voldemort's?
Yeah, it was because of Voldemort's tie.
presence.
No, I think it's also his personality. I see in Harry, there's a lot of like being prone to aggression. He's very proud. You don't see it too much in the movies, but he can be a real like witty, sarcastic asshat in the books. Like he can really like be like snarky. The books are written from like his perspective most of the time, so like you're in his head, so it's a little different. But even with Daniel Radcliffe's performance in the movies, you see like he can be quick to get like angry, even violent on some occasions. Like he does that Sectum Sempra stuff and cuts up Malfoy.
But I think at that point he didn't know.
He didn't know what it would do, but like, I mean, he walks up to the guy and
but
he feels but he feels good about it too a bit sometimes. It feeds into it. So I feel like if he was raised in different circumstances after he got exposed to magic, so ignoring the first 10 years, I feel like the friendships he cultivated by discovering magic and being introduced to that world is what ended up making him different than Voldemort. Because if he was introduced to magic at a different point in his life and it was a different group of people, then who's to say that he wouldn't have ended up being more like what if he had sat with Draco on the bus first instead of not on the bus, sorry, on the train, instead of Ron
and Hermione.
No.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you don't know. I mean, I still think he wouldn't have liked Malfoy anyway. But there's a lot of Slytherin things in the kid, and they both have leadership qualities. They both galvanize people to rally behind their causes.
You can see that in the fifth.
In Dumbledore's army.
Dumbledore's army.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree with the snootiness and with the snarky remarks though, because like you have a lot of other Gryffindors like Cormac McLaggen and even Ron. Even Ron can be quick to anger too. I feel more than Harry actually.
Book Ron, best Ron.
yeah, actually, but yeah, the other ones, I do agree with.
Auden?
I'd like to add, I agree with a lot of the points that Panos made. Except that I feel like a lot of the times, especially like I'm thinking a lot about that scene with where you used the spell. What was it
Sectum
called?
Sempra. Sectum Sempra.
Sectum Sempra. Like when you said that, like he kind of feels good about it. I haven't read the books. Actually, sorry, I've read up to the 4th book. Nani? I've read up to the 4th book, but I haven't read all the books. But I feel like that still has to do with his connection to Voldemort, because that connection, especially being around like a Horcrux too, kind of does give you those like feelings, and you do feel a bit more.
He literally had it inside him.
Exactly. No. Exactly. Yeah. So I do feel like that is partially the case. Although to be fair, yes, there are a lot of parallels to be drawn, just like Panos mentioned. I think that the only reason why Harry Potter didn't end up like Voldemort, and I think is also sort of the point of the story. Not the point, but like a major factor of the story, something very important when it comes to like kids growing up is your surroundings, right? The communities that you're with and the people that you're around, how that affects you growing up as a child. Yeah. Voldemort was very, very lonely, and like he grew up not surrounded by a lot of friends and not surrounded by a lot of good influences. As for Harry Potter, was watched over quite a bit, because last time something happened to a kid similar to him was Voldemort, and look at what fucking happened to him. Yeah. So he was watched over pretty well, and like he was taken care of by his peers, his professors, and etc. So I think that it's like it kind of shows that, you know, it's like the people that you're with dictates like the person that you become. So in that sense, I could see that Voldemort and Harry Potter are have very similar characteristics and are very similar people. It's just the way that they were brought up, that they were grown up, that kind of dictated who they became.
So their choices too.
And the choices,
choices they made.
But the choices that they made were because of their influences and how people guided them, right?
Sure, yeah.
So I feel like that's why, like, I think it's an important factor, because like the choices that you make, choices don't just spark up like that in your head. You know, you kind of dictate what's good and evil from the things that you've seen, from the things that you've witnessed. So it's like that's how you kind of carve your own path, I believe. You know,
Voldemort didn't have a Hagrid to take him.
Exactly.
Rest in peace.
Man.
As far as I think I always stand by this. It's like you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and if you don't spend time with anyone, then
5, not 6. 5, you sure?
Yeah, 5.
Oh.
So, as I was saying, like the 5 people you spend the most time with, that's like you're built off of those people. But the thing is, if you spend the most time with no one, then like how are you gonna build any form of character? But I'll get to Voldemort's character in my point. Anita, what about you?
So I want to continue off of what Aren said, because like Harry was watched over. I feel like only once he got to Hogwarts. That was when he was 10 years old, 10, 11.
11.
But like for the first 10 years of his life, he lived in abandonment. He also had like a very unhappy upbringing. But like you see how like the choices Harry makes, like based off of his unhappy upbringing versus Voldemort, they're very different. So is the like upbringing like an actual similarity, or is it like a huge difference between them?
Yeah, like you could see he could be faced with, you're right, similar decisions to make, but then he's just like deep down he's a good kid. Like when I say he's being a petulant shit, a lot of it's just him being an angry teenager. Like it's just him being an angsty teenager. But yeah, you're right. Like I don't think he would have been a bad person. Whereas Voldemort, I think like it's clear he would have been like a piece of shit
Regardless.
anyway.
But there's another
which he
thing-
was.
That's true, but there's a reason for that. It's because he was conceived under a love potion, under the effect of a love
That's
potion.
true.
So
That's
forgot about
mom's
that.
problem. Like
But yeah, like
But-
that. There's a reason why he's
Daddy.
asympathetic.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's a reason why he's asympathetic. He literally cannot feel love.
Yeah.
who loved potions? Who?
So his
his
mom.
mom
Yeah.
loved potions his father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when
Bill Cosby was Voldemort's mom.
Yeah. Basically.
Daddy.
No.
so actually I was going to use that point.
Oh, my bad.
I don't like
You. So yeah, I was going to use that, but I think one of the things I was going to say was like I was going to do a parallel, but I can still bounce off of that. So like you said, like the love potion was the reason why like Voldemort couldn't like feel love or feel any kind of affection towards anyone, and
Wait.
he couldn't feel like because if you're conceived under a love potion, you cannot feel love.
Oh,
and
like
there's-
I thought it was just that his mom duped. So his mom duped his dad with it. But
Yeah.
Then
Yeah, but
he was confused. So he just didn't have a healthy example of a relationship. I
no.
thought that's what it was.
That's not what it is. It's like he
physically can't feel
physically cannot feel love.
Yeah.
I
Whereas
completely
Harry,
forgot about that.
Harry was literally protected.
Yeah,
was
that's-
literally
that's-
protected by his mom's love.
Yeah.
That's
So-
And it's something that he couldn't understand. That's why like he couldn't kill him. But it's like, hold on a second. Actually, this is like a flaw in the story that like I kind of thought of like ever since I've watched the movies and everything. It's like, so does that mean that everybody that Voldemort has killed has never been loved? Because they never had. Because Harry Potter didn't die because he had his mom's protection.
No,
Yeah,
that
but,
wa-
like,
but
that's
that
'cause
was,
she
what about
died.
it?
that's because she she put a spell on him right before she died.
I don't think she actually casted a spell.
No, but that's like she put like I don't know. This
it's a charm.
or it's a charm or whatever. But like she cast whatever it was, and because my guess is that they probably knew that he was coming for Harry.
She shot her love out of her wand at her infant child.
So she
He was
literally
covered in love.
they
That's
literally
why he
used the
was
power of friendship to defeat Voldemort at the end.
Care Bears.
It's the Kingdom Hearts.
Care Bears.
I wrote down something about Voldemort. So I basically wrote
Right.
down like a question. And I said, can someone be considered evil if he never realized that he had the choice to be otherwise? So I guess...
Well, that depends on what you define as evil. So evil is something that's, I think, subjective based on not only the person but the society around them. But there are obviously things that are universally evil, but like murder or grape or like any other, like I can't use that word.
Shit!
I can't use that
Oh,
word.
that's
it.
it. Was like, what?
Yeah.
E-par spelled backwards. So,
Oh.
I mean,
but like those things are generally universally bad.
yeah.
But like the thing is, there's like, he doesn't realize that it's evil because he doesn't really know. Like to him it's just whatever. Like to him, because he can't even feel love. So
Yeah,
like
it
how
does
is he
not
gonna?
compute.
So it literally doesn't compute. And you also have to think that like he would never be able to understand the reason why, like, let's say Snape betrayed him at the end. Or didn't really betray him at the end. He always sort of betrayed him. He was like a double agent.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why that was the case because of his love for Lily Potter or Lily Evans, and then whoever eventually became Lily Potter. Imagine that. What? Imagine your crush gets married to your bully. That's gotta.
Ouch.
Oh, that would be such a
oof
fat
size
hell.
massive.
Oh,
Yeah, that's funny.
But at the same time, the only thing that was driving him after Albus came was his search for power. It's kind of like a parallel to Orochimaru from Naruto, where he has to like figure out all of the jutsus or all of the spells in the world. But like Voldemort was hurting kids even at the orphanage. Like there's that trip that they took that he physically harmed a kid. I don't know what it was. They didn't really mention it in the books.
He even killed his parents.
Yeah, he did. Marvolo and I forget the mom's name.
The wife.
Yeah. Oh my god. But it was like Albus was like Prometheus, and he showed him fire for the first time, literally, and he was like, "Ooh, I want to learn."
Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah. But yeah, like I think.
is that symbolism? Prometheus is
Yes.
fire. You think it's? It's
there's
deliberate.
there's a lot of ancient Greek and biblical symbolism in this story, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so in that case, like, do you guys think that Voldemort is sort of a product of what Harry Potter would have been if he didn't know or feel love?
Probably, most likely, because he was also parcel-tongued. He was also
Well, he was partial tongue because of
Voldemort. But did he lose that ability after?
Yeah, he does.
So yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wasn't that wait? Was that? Oh yeah, that's the reason why he opened the Chamber of Secrets, right? Because he used parcel tongue to open the doors.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they really mention it in the movies, but Ron opens it the next time. Yeah,
in the last one.
Yeah, because
How does he open it?
Deathly Hallows, he goes to the Chamber of
Yeah,
Secrets.
he does.
And
it's like-
How?
because he
he-
talks in his sleep.
Yeah,
Harry talks in his sleep, so he's like, "Oh, I know what that means."
That's in the films.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, he goes like
Okay.
talks in his sleep or whatever.
Oh, okay. Fair
Whatever achievement was saying.
enough.
No, but that's what he says. But who knows? Maybe he actually speaks it. Is that like a fan theory that we can?
Ooh.
Yeah, because Ron learned it
Kim Possible.
because when Harry was asleep and speaking it, his rat was also speaking it in conjunction with Harry every time Ron was like, why was Ron awake up at night just listening to Man,
No,
the
he
things
was up-
that rat
he
must
was-
have seen.
He was
I'm just
up.
saying,
He was up late. Let's just say that.
Harry had night terrors. That's why. Let's keep it PG.
Yeah, definitely.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah, Dementors.
Peter Pettigrew was whispering it in Ron's ear and grooming him as a sleeper agent this whole time. But he didn't know that he couldn't corrupt Ron's soul because gingers do not have souls in Harry Potter.
Ron.
Like, if your method of flirting is tying a fucking shoelace, Okay, sorry.
Ginny. Ginny.
Oh, they did her so dirty in these movies.
They did.
That was so off
Wait,
topic.
tying a shoelace? What? Hold on.
Oh my God, I remember that.
What happened? Oh!
I think it's in the sixth
in the
movie.
sixth movie.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember now. When they're like going up the steps,
Yeah.
What do you mean?
and it's like shoelace, and she goes to tie the shoelaces, and then they go for the kiss.
And then
Oh,
after
that's how it happened.
That was the first,
They literally walk up to each other.
God.
They're like this. Shoelace. And by the way, after Chamber of Secrets, you do not see them even look at each other for like 4 movies.
That's true, right?
Whereas
Yeah.
in the books, it's
Then
like
all of a
there's always
sudden-
like a bit of like a back and forth, or like in his thoughts, there's things that he says that he admires about her.
Yeah.
Like slowly, like he's like he'll admire that she's athletic,
Yeah.
or that like she was take charge in this or something. They
Was
get
she ever
sprinkled
shown
in.
as
In the
athletic
fourth
in
and
the
fifth movie, remember?
in like the fifth and sixth one. Sixth one when she was on the team when they were showing.
I think he was thinking of asking her in the books out to the ball. I think he was thinking about it, but then he was like, "Oh, that's like bro code violation or something." I think he was whatever. It was better set up, not amazing.
It's
anyway, but-
code.
Is it evil if you're not actually like in no circumstance are you capable of
Yeah, well,
feeling love?
What do you guys
Was
think?
that the question?
No, like or,
Yeah, it's more like, are we blaming him for his actions? Is it his fault?
Yes.
Yeah, should.
Are aromantic people evil? Was what the find out soon.
Because we know he's not asexual.
he's not asexual. Well, oh yeah, because he he gets a kid with what's her face?
Bellatrix,
With
which is
Bellatrix.
the worst. I fucking hate that
What
story.
the
Cursed
what was
child.
it? Delphina.
Oh, that's true.
Was it
It's Sirius's cousin. Bellatrix
Delphinius?
Black.
Delphinius?
Is it Bellatrix Lestrange?
Lestrange.
Lestrange.
And she's also sisters with
Narcissa.
Narcissa, who's Draco's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Who also passed
Yes.
away, apparently.
No.
Yeah.
Apparently she passed away
Yeah,
too.
Narcissa died.
I did
No.
not know.
Yeah.
Yo, apparently Alan Rickman died.
No.
Jesus Christ, for fuck's sake.
Freaking
I've been crying all day.
They're all going to heaven on a.
God.
Sorry, that was a
Stupid.
joke.
That was
Did you,
bad.
get that, did you get that clip from Top Gun?
No.
R.I.P. buddy.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Hagrid. It's me, Harry. I'm a wizard.
The thing you mentioned before about like how Snape was like had a crush on Lily,
Yeah.
and like that crush was clearly very obsessive. And Snape is a very complex character. Like we don't know if he's actually a good person, or we don't know if he only does good deeds when it comes down to Lily and his like obsessiveness with
Yeah.
Lily.
And it's more subtle in the books.
Yeah.
At the end, you still don't know 100% if he's like actually a good dude or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like this obsessive love. Do we consider that as like sweet and cute, or is that actually like evil? Is that a bad trait to have? He's only doing good things when it comes down to
Yeah,
to her.
I know a little bit about what happens in the books. There's a part where he calls her a mudblood.
He I don't know if he calls her a mudblood. It's like he's going into the Gryffindor like the pass the fat lady the pass through the tunnel, and like he utters it. It says that he uttered mudblood, but like is it toward her? I'm not sure if he uttered it toward her.
There was I think
Is
there was
it-
a part
it's
there was a
directed
part
at her.
there was a part
But
where
why?
there was a part where like he was like knocked down or something, and then Lily tried to help her, and then they said, "Oh, you need help from her." It's like I don't need help from that mud
Oh
blood.
yeah. But this was beforehand. This was when Harry's looking into his memories.
memories.
Yeah.
And there's a part where he says like Alan Rickman. But like there's a moment where he goes into the fat lady's passage, and he utters the word mudblood, and she hears that, and she's like, "What's that?" And it's like Nani, like. Nani? Yeah. So I'm not sure if that was intended for her or for someone else. It would appear as if it's intended for her.
I mean,
but-
this completely seriously. I think Snape's an incel.
Oh yeah.
That's like the way or he's so nice guy syndrome with her, where he's like everything's completely fine until she starts dating a dude. Then all of a sudden it's like.
Then all of a sudden, it's like.
Oh my god, sicko mode.
I think. Honestly, Snape's written like a Game of Thrones character. That's like he's very gray. For me.
I disagree.
Alan Rickman's portrayal, the way they wrote him in the movies, he is a good guy.
Yeah.
In the films, it's no question he's a good guy. In the books, I think Snape's easily their biggest departure as far as like the big like points or like the big, there's obviously a lot of omissions, but they whatever's in there from the books doesn't change that dramatically. It's more like just lack of detail. But with Snape, I feel like the way they portrayed him is very like.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
They don't really frame him ever as like a villain. Whereas you get to Half-Blood Prince, and it's like, and that big reveal happens.
Yeah.
You see Alan Rickman do that, and almost a part of you is kind of expecting like, oh, like I'm sure like he'll feel guilty about it at least in the next movie, even if you still think that he's gonna stay a villain.
Yeah,
but when you read the book, when you finish Half-Blood Prince, the book, you're like, oh, Snape, you motherfucker. I can't believe I had even like a slight hint of faith in you. Because the only time they make him start making him more sympathetic, I think, is Order of the Phoenix, when he starts trying to train Harry. So you see it's a bit there.
Well, his definition of sympathetic though. He was still like
Yeah, he's
tough
still
on
an
him.
asshole,
Yeah,
but-
yeah.
But I mean, like, that's where you start seeing him as human a bit more. Because all the other books, he's just like, oh, evil teacher douchebag.
Which is weird because I feel like, let's say, I think it's the first book or the second book that's where I'm like realized Snape is a bit odd with his hatred for Harry, like for this 11-year-old during like his Quidditch match where he like cursed his Harry's broom. Yeah, I'm like, why are you doing
That
this?
was the first one.
child?
That was the first one.
That wasn't Snape though.
But they revealed that
Yeah,
it was
it's
Quirrell,
Yep.
and then
yes,
he's
yes.
Quirrell
and
the
then
squirrel.
he's like when Hermione sees him muttering words, it's him trying to counter it. To
Yeah.
counter
Oh
It's a
yeah,
counter
he said he
curse,
was
yeah.
countering. Yeah, but so he's trying to counter it, but he also has like this deep hatred for Harry.
Mm-hmm.
So like in his books, he's just such a gray character and very complex the whole time. We're just trying to understand if he's actually a good person because he has the ability to be good and evil. He's so powerful.
Yeah, because on the one hand he's being a complete asshole to the kids, but then on the other hand it's like, oh, he's like Dumbledore's like right hand man.
I remember this very interesting scene. It was during the fight between McGonagall and Snape in the what was it, the Great Hall?
Yeah.
And when McGonagall's like shooting her spells at him, there's a part where he redirects the spell and hits the 2 Death Eaters behind him and knocks them out. There's a like you can, it's just in the background. You can barely see it, but if you look closely, you can see it.
Yeah, no, he does do that. He does
Snape
do that.
Snape does that during the initial battle of Hogwarts. Like when you remember when he's fighting McGonagall, then he retreats, like he leaves the school.
Yeah.
There was a part where like McGonagall's shooting like fire spells at him, and then Snape redirects it. He does like
That's
like
true.
that, like that, and then basically he knocks those 2 guys out because those guys were like really powerful.
Okay, so that was on purpose, you're saying?
Yeah, he did that on
makes
purpose.
sense. Okay. Shit, actually. I never thought of that.
I didn't think of that either until I saw. Top 10 things you didn't know about Snape. It was like a short. It was like, did you know this about Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows? So yeah,
But I think it's an interesting question too, because you even see him in Half-Blood Prince 2. I mean, you think back afterwards, it's like, oh wait, but why didn't he like just take Harry in? Because he knew he was there, and he told him like, shush, shush. So even then, you're still kind of like, what's going on, Sevi?
I do.
Severus.
I do believe that he is obsessive with Lily. Jesus Christ. I do believe he is obsessive with Lily though, because his own Patronus is the same as hers, and that's why like they concluded that they could never be a true couple because of Patronus is but yeah, like his Patronus matches hers, which is a dope. Yeah. But there's this one. But there's this one part in the movie. I don't know if they say it in the book. I forget. But like it's when Harry's watching his Snape's memories, and there's this one part where Dumbledore is like revealing his plan for Harry, his like a 12 years a slave plan for Harry. Like
Seriously.
Seriously.
I mean, it's true. It's just like
honestly, and he's like talking to Snape about it, and he's like, Snape's like, so you're basically leading this lamb to slaughter, and he's like, oh, don't tell me you have compassion for the kid, and he's like,
and then he's like,
always, yeah.
Oh, that scene
he showcases Lily's dough.
That scene was crushing, honestly.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
After all this time, always.
If you didn't cry at that scene, you don't have a soul.
What?
If you didn't cry at that scene, you don't have a soul.
Snape and then Voldemort.
it makes me think of those Robot Chicken skits where they turn Snape into like a complete pedo. Has anybody seen?
Oh my god!
Where he's like,
That's so fun.
He's like, Mr. Grange, and that's 10 points for Gryffindor, but we can talk about it in my office. Privatus Jacuzzius. I don't know.
Wait, and then did you see what she meant? Expelio. Expelio pervertus.
Expelio pervertus.
I think it's like pedo repello or something.
What the fuck?
Well, actually, I just wanted to say something funny. So you're saying that they couldn't be together because they had the same zodiac sign?
Oh my god. Incompatible.
Right.
No, I can't date you because you're an incel.
I can't date you because you're a Sagittarius.
With all due respect.
It's like What the fuck?
Albus Dumbledore
This
is
is that
born.
awkward part of like the group presentation in front of the class where it's like someone forgot their line, but nobody remembers whose line is coming up because you only memorized yours.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like you do it.
Madame, ça ne fonctionne
No,
plus.
no,
It won't.
But I was actually going to say something though about Snape, because I mean, obviously until you find out at the end like what happens, like I think there's no side of him that is evil, because I feel like anyone in that position, like imagine you had to babysit and guard the child of like the person you hated the most growing up, and that person married the girl that you loved.
Oh no, it's the best revenge. You raise his kid and he treats you like a father. Oh! Meanwhile, that motherfucker's laying dead in the ground.
All seriousness,
You get access to his funds, Harry's balling.
That's the thing. Like he has the ability to do good things.
Have you seen Harry's checking? It's insane.
No,
My
but
guy
like
pulls up to the school on the fucking Polar Express there on his first day.
Takes the entire thing.
I'll take the lot. Like my guy, he was like,
What about the other kids? What happened to the other kids?
yeah, fuck them other
What were you gonna say, Adam?
because I feel like nobody would ever take on that responsibility in his shoes, and the fact that he did that, I mean, I think it's like completely normal that he acted the way he did with him. That he was a bit of an asshole, because who the fuck wouldn't be, in that
What
situation?
did the kid do to you?
But no, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, I guess, but it's like it's sort of like because he's not directly hurting him in any way, or like.
No,
I
he's just
guess.
docking off points.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
kind of direct.
20 points from Gryffindor.
Aw, my guy's abusive.
Yeah.
He's so abusive.
Okay. Anyways, like I
Here's
just
10
think
points off your sanity. Fuck you.
Every
And then
time he walks in the
yeah.
halls and stuff in the books, like Harry's like terrified. He
Yeah.
wants to like
I guess
doesn't want
so,
to
yeah.
cross him.
I don't know. I just feel like
It's like, remember how terrified you were when
I know exactly what you're saying. Oh my gosh. But anyways, all I'm trying to say is I think it's like justifiable. That's it. It's like okay. Yeah, maybe not everybody would act the way he does, and maybe it's not like necessarily right, but like I
Yeah.
think it's justifiable, and at the end of the day it's like fuck, bro. Like
Yeah.
he did all of that for him,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
You're not allowed agreeing with me.
But again, it's based off what his obsession over Lily that just never dies down.
What do you mean? The what?
The last part that you said.
That he did all of that for him?
Mhm.
No, it's just because Dumbledore asked that of him.
He
It could have
wouldn't
been
do
any
it
kid. It could have
other-
been any kid. It was Harry Potter.
He would never do that out of his own like voluntarily. Dumbledore, you think Dumbledore
I mean,
made him?
Like he had to.
Yeah.
He also protected Draco.
Draco.
No, but he did it
Mm.
because it was the right thing to do.
No, but he protected Draco because him and Narcissa made the unbreakable
Yeah,
vow.
but at the same
Yeah.
time, Dumbledore said like you have to make sure that the Malfoy boy doesn't kill me.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's true.
but at the same, dude, but he had to prove his loyalty to the Death Eaters as well.
Yeah.
To Voldemort.
Yeah, no, but even then,
Yeah.
that's an example. That's what she said. Like, that's the question though. Is like,
Yeah.
so is he only looking after the kid because he's obsessed with his mom, or is it because he also
'Cause it's his duty.
a part of him also thinks like, okay, it's the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Then is that like, I'm guessing that's more the question. No,
the Dumbledore Snape relationship is a bit wild because like he was a double agent for a while. Snape. Triple. Wild. Yeah,
he
like
even quadrupled it
it's
a
a
bit.
perhaps.
How?
Perhaps.
It's like such a huge task, such a huge like responsibility
Yeah.
that like Dumbledore. It's like all the other profs at Hogwarts are perceived as good, and then there's Snape, who's like very
No,
gray.
but imagine though, right? Because it's
Mhm.
like Dumbledore.
But why him? Why did did Dumbledore have a feeling that in his eyes like Snape is inferior to all the other profs, so he wanted him
I think the opposite.
potentially be sacrificed then for him to be like a double agent?
Not at all.
No, I think because he thought that Snape was the only one who had a connection to the Death Eaters because probably was at one point
He
a
was.
Death Eater.
He was.
He was a Death Eater, and that's the thing is, when he was a Death Eater, he went to ask Dumbledore for help because I think he found out like the murder of Lily and James was gonna happen, or he found out, and then he went to Dumbledore.
Well, no,
or
that,
something like
he
that.
he heard Dumbledore and Trelawney, the
The visionary.
yeah, the 90-cent fortune teller lady. He overheard them having a conversation about a prophecy, and his mind directly went to Harry.
Oh yes.
And then he went to Voldemort, and then he's like, I messed up because Lily, my love, my life. And then he went to Dumbledore to plead for forgiveness. It's all because of Lily.
Wait, when was he a Death Eater again? Sorry. Like, when did this all happen? I've completely
His 20s.
blanked out.
We do the Moon Knight timeline.
At what point during the story though?
I think it was the 70s.
Oh my god.
No,
but it probably was.
No, but I'm being dead ass. I think it was like the 70s, and then because technically this all takes place in the 90s.
Yeah. That's why he has that shitty haircut.
Wait, Panos,
My
hold
guy
on a
just had
second.
the McJagger when he straightens his hair.
Sorry, the Deathly Hallows took place in 98, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I open at the
so
close.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah. That's good.
Very interesting. My next question would be like,
It's like would Barack Obama? It's like would Barack turn an ex-KKK into his right-hand man? It makes you. What? No. It's
The comparison.
No. Oh, okay. Or
You gotta think this through,
what
man.
if he took an ex-jihadi who helped him kill Osama?
I get it. It's like when the FBI's recruit criminals to identify. Yeah.
Catch me if you can.
And then sometimes these career criminals actually just give up on crime by working with the police and stuff, and they just stay in the scene to be able to help the police. A lot of them actually just.
let's
If
take
you can't
him
fight
to
him,
the
join
police. When Harry Potter saw Voldemort for the first time when he was a kid, Voldemort pointed at the wand and went aRcHiTeChTuRe, and Harry Potter went.
No, that was Lily diving in front of the kid.
Lily got.
Her tuz absorbed the Avada Kedavra into her body.
So this question is kind of like a bit off topic, but we're still talking about like good and evil, which is that can evil be forever vanquished? Like, can there be a time when there is no evil, and why? Why or why not?
It's like the two wolves that are light and dark. Like, which one do you feed, and how fast does the pendulum switch?
You did not.
I did. I went there. What?
I don't get that.
Are we going?
The two wolves. It's like
Which one do you feed?
Oh,
Which one do you feed?
But it's like inside every man, there's two wolves. One is a black wolf. The other. And
It just stops. It's inserts
the
here.
other is a wolf.
Basically, the philosophy is that you have two wolves inside of you. Which one do you feed? In this, what I wanted to say was that there's like a pendulum. So like there's always gonna be evil, and wherever there is evil, there is good, and vice versa. The lighter, the stronger your light is, the darker your shadow will become. And Kingdom Hearts quote right there. I know. I had to input that there.
But let's say if you vanquish a great evil, right? Wouldn't therefore the evil that comes next be of a lesser evil?
What?
Or
I think so.
if you
I
know what I
think I know
mean.
what you mean.
Let's say there's a great evil like Voldemort.
Yeah.
You vanquish that, and then you kind of establish a world of good. Then the next evil is not going to be as powerful because the evil itself is very how can I say this? It's born out of a place of good. It's in it of itself. So like the standard for evil is like much lower.
Yeah.
That's an
If you
interest. Yeah.
So if you know what I mean.
But I
You
think
know,
this draws back to what Panos was saying earlier about like how like back in the days it's like.
Does it? Because I'm very confused by this.
Remember
point.
what you were saying about Gladiator, or was it Chris? What you were saying about like how it was like a common thing to see people like kill each other in a stadium,
yeah.
and like how now it's like you say the wrong word, it's like
Disagree though, because we're not
Okay.
fighting people in like the
Yeah.
gladiator times where like we haven't full on wars.
Yeah, like for example,
It's
Well,
worse.
we had full-on wars then, and we have full-on wars
Yeah,
now.
but I think that she's saying like the scale though. The scale of war today
So
is
you-
bigger.
it's not.
So you're saying that the scale, like, let's say the evil is like, how can I say this, like less serious, but the scale of it is a lot bigger. Would you say that?
I think, like, let's say if there was a Voldemort 2.0, he would be as egotistical, even worse, and he'd just like look at Voldemort and he'd want to take it to another level.
Okay.
You look at him as
and
a
you've seen
template.
that in history too. Even just if you just look at the 20th century,
Yeah,
right?
like Kylo Ren.
How you see like
Oh my god.
yeah, how many of all these like genocidal maniacs just quote each other as sources as
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, they got away with it. Oh, they got away with it. They got away with
Jesus
it.
Christ,
Like
yeah,
it's
that's
just or like the wars when you're trying to galvanize people. You're just like, you know, you tell them like you give historical examples as something to look up to, whether it's your own nation, like oh we used to be strong, blah blah, blah. Or if it's just like oh you know like civilizations past, like bro, you have people still referencing the Roman Republic as like an example to be worshipped when like you had like you know one room with just a gaping hole in the middle where 30 people would take a shit together. Like it was not as civilized as people like you know what I mean. There's just a lot of things where it's just a lot of things where it's, you know just times change, but people still keep looking to the past as inspiration of things to do. So there's no question evil people would definitely do this.
You don't even need to go like.
So would you say? So sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like you can keep it like fictional, not even go into nonfiction, and just say like for example like in the MCU when you know Spider-Man like you know puts Fisk away, there's always another big badder Goonie that's out there.
Gonna cry?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I agree. I think yeah. No, that was just a concept I came
Like
up. Like I
Thanos.
thought, like it's just
Thanos didn't like you know like Ant-Man didn't do his job to go up the tract, so like it's like up the chute. So
You know
because of
they-
that, Thanos did what he did, and then he died. So what?
Is this a scene from The Boys?
There's only two things. Yeah, there's only two things that can happen now. So if we're using the MCU as an example, so that big evil was vanquished. So now what? There's two things that can happen. One, any evil that happens is less, like it's a less serious, maybe wider scale, but less serious. Or it can get worse, and they'll do Galactus. And I don't think well,
Is Galactus as evil as Thanos?
Ant-Man can't grow that big. To take care of Galactus, you know. So.
Well, at least he'll remove his pelvic.
No, he's just getting him ready.
Oh my god.
You gonna make me act up.
I'm sorry.
So your points are basically that evil either decreases in scale or increases in scale dramatically.
It won't stay constant. I think that's the only thing you can predict is that it's
But
either going to get better or worse. It's just not.
Do you
But
think?
it's not going to be the
Do
same.
you think it's just people either forgetting or revising or doing like revisionist history in that case? Like because like we see
all history is revisionist. Anyway.
No, but I'm saying like if people look at history through a different lens than like the objective view, correct? Like if you know what I mean. Like for example, Europe went to war in like the 1800s, and a lot of people died, and they were like, okay, we're not doing that again. And then 100 years ago, and 100 years later, they were like, you know what? A large scale war with millions of people die. I'm kind of down for that.
Hold my beer.
And then 20 years.
Hold my beer, literally.
And then
Kill streak.
And then 20 years later, oh, that was pretty good. Let's do another one.
Why would you want to? These criminals or whatever. Why would they want to step down if your objective is to commit a crime or to commit evil? Why would you do something that's gonna have not as big of an impact than in the past? If someone did it like worse than
Like
you.
up the ante.
Yeah. So. Yeah, like for example, I think who was it? There was Pol Pot got inspiration, I think, from Stalin because he was a Stalinist. There was, I think, Saddam Hussein got it from Stalin and Hitler as well. So like they were
Hitler got it from the Ottoman Empire. Some of it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him was like Hitler's very complex in terms of like how his thinking developed.
And if you want to know more about that, you can go watch the Shade Cinema podcast episode solo about why Germany devoted itself to Hitler.
Thank Garcias.
Plug.
So,
It's crazy.
yeah, but that's more about the devotion to Hitler. It's not like how Hitler came to power, but it was more like why people were devoted to him. Also, when it comes,
you could make a whole video in that style you did about Germany devoting itself to Hitler, and make so many analogies to like the Death Eaters and how they commit themselves to Voldemort.
That's true.
Right?
Interesting. And there was even a point where one of the Death Eaters says, "My lord," and then he goes, aRcHiTeChTuRe, and then he dies. And he dies.
Yeah, like it's a lot about like purity,
Yeah.
like the Aryan race, right? And then you have pure bloods versus the mud bloods.
And Voldemort
Yeah.
wasn't even
Huh?
so.
He wasn't even, and then
He's
and then
half-blood.
isn't there
That's
rumors
true.
that like some of Hitler's ancestry is Jewish? There's some talk
Yeah, well,
like that.
the
a
thing
bit,
is,
wasn't like a
like,
perfect
distant.
breed.
It's
either,
difficult.
yeah.
It's difficult to necessarily gauge it because Hitler's father changed his last name to his stepfather's last name. So originally his father's last name was Schicklgruber. So
You made that up. There's no way.
No,
Stop.
I'm dead serious.
Like, actually,
I'm dead serious.
Scheckelgruber?
Yeah, I'm Schicklgruber. I'm dead ass.
Imagine you're in Star Wars
Does
Battlefront
that literally
2 and
mean
you
money
have that.
grabber?
I don't know.
Scheckelgruber?
No, Schicklgruber.
Oh, Schickelgruber.
No, not shekel.
shekels.
I heard Scheckelgrabber. Scheckelgrabber. Sorry, I'm not trying.
Oh, that's awful.
stupid.
So
Sorry, can I just make one more point about all this?
go ahead.
Because, yeah, you guys kind of convinced me otherwise. But I do believe that there is sort of this general cycle of, like, good and evil sort of taking turns in a way. So it's like as soon as when good vanquishes evil, like, there's a period where things kind of, I don't want to say settle down, but it's sort of like a wave of, like,
Plateau?
you could say so. And then it's like there's always evil that comes back, you know?
Mm-hmm. It made me think. You know that whole quote: "Hard times create strong men," etc.
Yeah,
exactly that, yeah.
So it's like the hard times would be like the bad, like the evil times,
Yeah.
and then that creates the strong men. The strong men are like the good-willed men,
Yeah.
or the good-willed people who overthrow the evil government, and then they bring in the good times, and then the good times create the weak men.
Yeah.
The men who are weak enough to look beyond their evil vices, to then create the hard times.
Which create the strong men.
Which then create the strong men. So it's like it's like you see a lot of that in history. Like history is very cyclical. You see like empires you think that are going to last forever, like they last for like 300-400 years and then they collapse, or 1,000 years and then they collapse. As far as like good and evil goes, do you think there's such a thing as like pure good or pure evil?
For people or in what context?
People or in general?
People, no. Well, in the case of Voldemort,
Voldemort.
Voldemort. It's a flight of death.
Yes, that's true.
It's just weird saying it in English, though.
I know.
Voldemort.
But yeah, in his case, no, because he doesn't have the capability to
be good.
To be good.
So he's literally the personification of evil, though.
Yeah. Yep. But Harry couldn't be the pure good.
No, he's kind of like I guess the yin and yang.
Yeah, even though when they killed the Patronus off, the Horcrux, the Horcrux off.
Expecto
Patrono. When they killed off the Horcrux and he's standing there in that really really clean King's Crossing. By the way, have you ever been to King's Crossing? It is filthy. Like
It's
filthy.
disgusting.
Like
The
you
fuck
see,
is King's Cross.
King's Cross is the station in London.
Mind the gap.
Yeah.
That's what you hear.
It's disgusting. It is like you know like muskrats in Fallout New Vegas. Like imagine that there. You have like big. Yeah.
You ever seen a plague tale? That's what that is.
But
You ever seen a what?
Plague tale.
Because I thought you were making a reference to Wormtail.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Called the
but,
plague tale like a Renaissance or something.
I don't know. Oh, wait.
It's that game with Sean Bean narrating the trailer.
Sean Bean?
Yeah.
Did he die in it?
He died before the trailer. He died as soon as the trailer ended.
But when he gets to that scene where everything's pearly white and it's supposed to be like as if he's either in limbo or in heaven. I don't know which is which anymore in this series.
Or just his head.
Yeah, or just his head, as Dumbledore says. And there, I guess he would be completely rid of evil. It appears so, but I mean,
he kind of symbolically is, if you think about it. He gets rid of the evil within him, which is
a fetus.
a fetus version of Voldemort.
Yeah.
Kind of look like Voldemort in the
fourth movie. Yeah.
Wormtail. There's a muggle at the door.
Mind the cauldron.
My lord, he asked for a tip. Avada Kedavra.
Honestly, sounds like Dr. Evil in what is that? Austin Powers. He's like, Wormtail, move my chair. Like,
Did he have a cat? The stroke.
oh no, but he had Nagini. He had the snake.
Nagini, snake.
Voldemort's rebirth is what it feels like to come out of the shower with long hair.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what it feels like. Yeah.
Honestly, him with the what was it when he had the fully just white eyes, like that.
Oh, yeah.
Was like that was actually like a very scary.
Yeah, it was.
That was actually a
creepy.
very scary scene, but they didn't do like the bloodshot eyes like in the books that they said, which is weird. I guess they wanted to keep it PG.
But also, I think it's also to represent his lifeless, I guess.
Oh,
soul.
okay. Well, he already kind of looks lifeless. Like he looks like a Cole McGrath after he becomes fully evil.
He's described a little more reptilian looking.
I wanted
in
to, about that, about his look. I think it was like fully done on purpose. I don't know if it's for the Hogwarts kids or just like readers and viewers in general. Like, did they portray him as like disgusting looking and stuff to show everyone, be like, if you do bad things, that's what you'll look like, or that's what you'll end up like, either in the afterlife or you in the future.
So you're saying
And they
the
go out of
kids
their
in
way to make sure that, like, before, to describe how he used to look as Tom Riddle, as like, damn, this guy's handsome. So it's like, this is the...
That's true.
Oh, is this what you're saying in the book, like from the book to the readers, or do you mean like in the book to the students at Hogwarts?
Both. I think both.
Okay.
Drugs, not even once.
Yeah, because
7 times.
all the profs want to put like all the students in check. It looks like a strict private school.
Especially Slughorn. He's very reclusive. Well, no, not
I
really.
like Slughorn, honestly.
He is cool though.
Yeah, I like him. Sorry, can I make one more comment about?
Go ahead.
Because you guys were saying how like Harry Potter, as soon as he got rid of like the part of himself that was like connected to Voldemort, right? Like that Horcrux, how he became pure good.
What did you call it?
The Horcrux.
Okay, never mind.
What did you hear?
I the way you said it earlier was like Horcrux.
My bad. No, no, but
Or
I don't think there's such a thing as like pure good.
You don't think so?
I don't believe that it's the case, because how could you be pure good if you can't make like if you can't make mistakes, or if like you don't do things that are like...
No, but like pure good, I mean like you're there's not like a point where
like you can't be perfect, basically.
Like not perfect, but like you're never really like more, like you're always in the moral, like in the right spot morally, generally.
Okay.
But I think that comes with like experience. Like,
but does that mean that you can't have like evil thoughts? Like, because I believe.
But then what is good? Because you can, I think as a good person you can still have evil thoughts, but then like if you act out on them, then that's a different story.
The whole point of it is your actions, your choices.
Okay. So that's what you guys mean by okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
what do you mean by that?
That's what we mean.
But I think that like in that case then, because there's always the potential of that in every human being, there's always the potential of one or the other. No one's ever going to be born complete. Like even Voldemort, is he... So like, can we even call him... Like, he's the villain, sure. But can we... And like, he's evil. But it's like what Anita was saying earlier. Can we blame him for being evil if he's literally incapable of feeling what goodness is and what love is? And in that case, if that's literally impossible for him, then can we even call him evil at that point?
And also the fact that he looks that horrifying and disturbing, and no one wants to end up like him or look like him and be like him, maybe it makes everyone else just want to be good out of like not fear. No, exactly.
Yeah, like deterrence.
Just like regular life, we have people who are so into like God fearing. So their only reasoning or their basis to be good and to do good actions is because they're scared to end up like something that they don't want to, even though maybe necessarily they wouldn't make those good choices if they didn't have that fear.
I agree.
But then, like, if in order to make, I guess, good choices, there has to be a fear of the consequences that come with making bad choices.
So looking or ending up like Voldemort, maybe.
Yeah, or ending up in prison, or
Like
ending up,
Azkaban.
or like ostracized from society. I was gonna ask you guys, like, do you think people when they're born are like blank canvases, or do you think people are born inherently good or evil?
Blank canvas.
And why?
Blank canvas. Yeah.
Because I'm in journalism and I do a lot of photojournalism. So there's this really infamous picture that was taken. It was taken in the 70s, and somebody else took a photo reenacting that in modern day. It's basically two babies, black and white, and they're both loving each other.
Okay.
And it's just there to say that you are born with a clean slate, and it's your environment and the people that you surround with that influence the thoughts that you have. It's like nature versus nurture. Are you inherently racist? Was the states, like the majority of people in the states, inherently racist, or were the purebloods inherently racist to mudbloods, or did somebody input that?
But I think like that comes back to the point I was making earlier about how.
But wait, sorry. Wasn't Ron a pure blood?
He is.
And, and you see the way he behaves himself around Muggleborns.
Muggleborns, because his parents were very fond of I mean, literally, his dad is. What is the function of a rubber duck?
I love that.
So Aran, you were saying?
No, I was just gonna make a parallel to
like
this is sort of what I was trying to say earlier about how the people that you surround yourself kind of dictate like the person that you're gonna be, and just wanted to make that.
You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Or 6. Just gotta put that out there.
This episode is basically whole loop.
Well, history is cyclical, and
Damn.
Hammer and a sick.
but I mean, what was this question again? Sorry, they're all blending together.
Are people blank canvases?
I think it's like, I think it's less like a blank canvas, and it's more like a coloring book page that hasn't been colored in yet. I think you inherently have some traits, just like how some people are born psychopaths. It's just their brain chemistry is like that. Or some people have ADHD or dyslexia, or like, whatever learning disabilities
or
they may
tall.
have too. Or they're tall, you're short, you're hairy, you're wide,
You're broken.
I am. You want to glue me back together? And then like, but I'm just saying, like that's how I see it. I see it more as like someone by default has particular characteristics, and some of those are malleable, some of them aren't. So some things in people are just fixed. Like there's some things that are just never going to change about some people, and there's others that they can change, and then there's other things where it's like their behavior, if they're incentivized to change it, then they'll change it. You know what I mean? Someone might like it's just like how some people are like really toxic, let's say in their friendships or relationships, they could be up someone's ass 24/7, and just won't give them any space to breathe. But to them, they just see it as, oh, I'm so loving and caring, and like, let me love you, that kind of shit. It's like, I think it's all, whereas if they experience the same thing where someone, it's not reciprocal, and someone keeps nagging the shits out of them, then they might learn. It's like, oh, that's what the receiving end is like. Okay, I'll change my behavior.
So it's like, it's perspective basically, like the programming that is embedded into you.
Yeah, there's social
Like-
programming that goes into you. There's familial programming that goes into you. There's from your peer group, your
certain
intimate
level, yeah.
friendships, that kind of stuff. Even if you're getting into like romantic relationships, those can condition you to have particular like responses to certain things. What could have been well received in one relationship isn't well received in another. We know that's just regular relationship dynamics.
We can talk about programming. I already know a movie that we can definitely watch or we can definitely do a video on that definitely talks about programming.
Matrix.
No, not The Matrix.
Inception?
No. Truman Show.
Oh yes,
I
I love the Truman Show.
It's
Like,
genuinely
no, I hasn't seen
hilarious,
Oh,
and
you
it's
should.
smart.
It's
You guys have
so
to do an
bittersweet.
episode on that for
Oh, it's so
sure.
bittersweet.
Oh, we're
and
doing. I'm already doing Truman Show.
that and the
American Psycho.
Oh, I'd like that one. Just to do the music
That'd be
ones,
crazy.
anyways. But there's another one that Jim Carrey
I'm
does.
fine.
The something of the something mind. I can't believe I've forgotten it. I thought I was such a. You know which one
Dumb
I'm
and
talking
Dumber?
about? Dumb and Dumber.
Which
No,
one?
it's
Mine?
the.
Describe it a bit.
It's basically he is in love with this girl and they're in a relationship, but they break up and there's this
Oh,
company.
I know this.
There's
Bruce
a company.
Almighty.
No. There's this company that
It isn't how Bruce Almighty.
it basically they have the ability to do obliviate to someone like particular memories so that they forget about that said person. So
Men in Black.
Yeah, kind of, but like
Total Recall.
just blue collar men in black, not like the government like FBI official men
Is
in
it
black.
Total Recall?
No, it's not. It's not.
Jim Carrey
It's,
was in that movie.
No.
I forget the name of the movie.
We'll figure it. If you figure it out later, I'll put it in the video here.
Sure.
So, what about Anita? What about you? Blank canvases are people blank canvases?
I was thinking about what Saro just said about Inception, because what happened in Inception? They wanted to go into his dream to implant something or
Yeah,
to
to
steal,
plant the
to
seed.
plant the seed.
Plant a seed.
So like they want to sneak into someone's subconscious while he was dreaming, I guess,
Yep.
to plant a seed. So that makes me think of like we just said, how you grow up and the 5 people you surround yourself with, everything that they do, they talk about. In a way, it's like planting a seed in your own brain,
Mm-hmm.
and you start off with a clean slate, but then the moment you're born, I think it just starts.
I think Voldemort just started off with a nerf. He has the incapability of just loving.
Well, not just that. Going off the 5 people you spend the most time with, the only people he spends the time with are people who validate him and his existence.
Exactly, giving him a superiority
And,
complex.
and getting grouped into Slytherin isn't really the best for like learning compassion and like curbing ambition so that you don't hurt other people. It's really like go-getter hungry people there, so they just validate his thirst for power. They want to be there for it too, so they can cash in on it as well, right? They see someone highly competent. It's kind of how you see psychopaths climb the ranks in companies. It's very common. Psychopaths make up what, like 2-3% of the population, but then they're always like a high proportion of the top 1% of people earning. So, and I don't know. I just think it's a lot of it's just like, I think we've been saying for like 30 minutes now. The environment.
No,
Chris?
like 10 minutes.
People are fucking canvases, man.
The concept of the houses is interesting because they all have, each house has like, or the people in the houses have very,
Wait, sorry, what houses?
the Hogwarts houses.
Oh, okay, go.
They all have like positive characteristics or attributes, but then they're like put into this box, and the most of the time they're always just surrounded by the people who are similar to them, because they were also put in these like one of 4 boxes or categories. Instead, I feel like they should have had more time to all like blend together and mesh together, especially when you're 11 years old, and they would all be better wizards if they.
No, but actually, hold on a sec. If we think about it from a schooling perspective, right, for education, isn't that smart? If you have different kids who think differently, who like have a different approach to education, like you don't want to bundle everybody up in one like classroom, let's say, and
No,
teach
but
them
they
all
all
the same
share.
way.
No, but they all share classes. She's saying that outside of class, you're basically encouraged to just chill with people from your house.
But
And you have times where you're forced into the common rooms, and a lot of time is spent in the in the common rooms in the books that you don't really see on film as much.
Yeah.
But they it's like a chill pad, and you're encouraged to stay there.
I think I'm gonna kind of push back on that, because I think it's a good thing that they get put in these houses, because either way they're gonna hang out with those guys. Like either way, like
So it's like an easier way to just put together people who are destined to be friends.
Yeah. So it's like what you're gonna do if what happens if, let's say, you integrate everyone together. Yeah, you're gonna be friends with people from Gryffindor, from Hufflepuff, whatever. If you're a Slytherin, but if you bundle everyone from Slytherin together, then what ends up happening is like they create a stronger bond together. And yeah, that's kind of like the fuck those guys attitude, but also it kind of makes better students and better wizards ultimately, because they have to compete against each other to see who's going to do better.
Yeah, but then it kind of just put all the like supremacists together.
Yeah,
and they became the and like almost not everyone in Slytherin is a Death Eater, but you notice how almost every Death Eater was from Slytherin.
Yeah.
If they were from Hogwarts at all. If that's where they got their
very
education.
anti-pure blood, my friend. That's
Wrong.
But hold on a second, Anita, what do you have to say about that though?
Was it a smart schooling structure?
But what do you have to say about it?
Oh, is it me talking in French? It has like positive arguments and like cons as well. Maybe it was easier for them to be friends if they see a part of themselves in someone else. But it's like, are you able to learn as much if you're just surrounded by some people who are exactly just like you?
Yeah. I understand what you mean, because it feels like a kind of like an echo chamber of sorts.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what the books wouldn't even showcase, which again, that's just going into hypothetically, do they spend time with other people outside of their house? Yes. The percentage of it, we don't know, obviously. So
maybe it would have been better if they had the houses for like maybe like years like 1 to 3 or something, and then kind of like a middle school high school structure almost. So like how they have like 2-3 years where so they would have 2-3 years where it's just them getting on their feet, solidifying friendships through being in the same house and such, and then from there years 4 to 7 you could like not like have the houses be just for years 1 to 3, and then maybe that's a better way to do it. It's this way you have people being able to get comfortable and make their friendships, but then they're also not hindered later on in their adolescence from interacting and mingling with people who've been raised differently than they were.
But it's funny though, right? Because it's like when you grow up and then you go into like the real world, right? You need to deal with a lot of people with different personalities, and I think it's also more advantageous to be around people that are not like you because of their different skill sets, their different viewpoints, and I feel like it's easier to progress forward that way too. So it's like I think it's weird. Like the more I think about it, that like you bundle up all these people with these same like features and characteristics together, and it's like you have that separation. But I don't know. It's
there are definitely pros and cons.
I
didn't think this video was gonna turn into like a top 10 ways we can improve Hogwarts.
Auden and I basically grew up like that. Auden and like so like in our high school experience, you're basically cluttered with the same 30 to 40 people. Even if you're grouped into different classes, you're basically growing up in the exact same space and hanging out in the exact same spaces on your downtime or in class with the same 20 people from like, it could be anywhere from ages like you could be as young as like 4 years old to 17 years old, or you could be going in, if you're just looking at high school, from like ages 11 to 17. You're 11, 12 to 17. So yeah. Like I think so, like from personal experience, I feel like a lot of learning how to actually socially interact had to come from outside of school. Whereas when you have a higher student body and you're forced to mingle with a larger population there in your school, you really get a better sense of what real life's actually like.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge plus for people who've been raised in public schools. That's one thing I don't think you could take away from people who are raised in public school. You really know how to. You're far better prepared for what's actually out there, I think.
We're like, the conversation went this way. We're like,
Hogwarts society.
I was just about to delve in there because
and now just like the rest of the show, it's gonna
Harry lives in a society.
It's gonna cycle back.
So, Panos, how does that make you a good person?
Are we doing psychoanalysis right now?
Do you think like oh my god, what's the house's name? Slytherin kids would be. Do you think more?
The way. Oh my god! Sorry.
What are they saying? Do you think more Slytherin kids, or in general, would be less cunning or less assholey if they spent more time with like students from other houses?
Yeah, they'd probably be getting baked with the Hufflepuff kids. That's why it's called Hufflepuff. That's why they're so friendly. They're just Hufflepuffing all day.
Hufflepuff are just vibing.
But they also have the perfect situation because their house is their common room is situated right next to the kitchen.
Yes,
true. So when they get the munchies,
yes.
When you get the munchies, where do you think you're gonna go? To the kitchen. And who's gonna help you? Fred and George from Gryffindor, obviously. But still.
And then you're gonna use
Yoga fire
to blaze it up.
Also, I don't know if this is just me misremembering, but I think they start exploring the other houses a little more in Goblet of Fire. I think with the Triwizard Tournament, right? I think, and I think. What is it? Oh no! We see the Slytherin common room in the second book.
Yeah.
Right, and then I think they make it a point with Cedric, the introduction of Cedric Diggory, like about how Hufflepuffs are the ones who, out of all the houses, they foster the most relationships with people in other houses instead of just staying to themselves.
Yeah.
So I think like they're probably like more prepared for actually like whatever's ready for in the rest of the world, and they're not as echo chambery because they have friends from Gryffindor, from Ravenclaw.
I think the issue, well, I think everyone kind of, it's not that they're not friendly, it's just that like they just keep their distance. If you look at like Cedric Diggory and Harry, like they kind of hit it off pretty well. Not in like a anyways
platonic relationship.
They platonically hit it off, and there's no fan
I'm
fiction.
Team Edward. I'm just gonna say that from now.
wrong.
No, they hit it off pretty well. Like they were pretty good friends, and like Cedric was helping him out and all that. It's like, yeah, don't worry, buddy, I got you. But I think it's just like because Slytherin specifically that year at least was like filled with so many dickheads, like Malfoy,
Crab and Goyle,
Potter.
I love you guys on the same wavelength.
So we're gonna finish off thoughts on the series. What's your favorite movie?
Ooh, easily Chamber of Secrets.
Wow.
And I know
Okay.
that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I don't know what it is. The first one had that sense of wonder when I was a kid. There's that bittersweet feeling towards the end of the movie where everybody has to leave and there's the train and everything. But then there's Chamber of Secrets where they literally find a secret chamber underneath like Hogwarts, and it's like nobody has found this before, not even Albus, the greatest wizard of all time. Are you kidding me?
Albus.
Not even Albus. Yeah. I don't know what it is about that movie. I particularly loved it. I especially loved the book, but out of all the books, I would say Goblet of Fire.
Okay. It's the biggest one there. So okay. Panos, go ahead.
You know what? I think for both film and movie, I'd say Prisoner of Azkaban. I just feel overall, it's just such a tightly structured. There's no boring part of that whole story.
It's actually really fire.
It's so fun.
And then
as
the
far
twist.
as the movies, it's easily one of the most faithful translation from book to film.
That's true.
And what it introduces to the lore, and just the whole final act with the time turn. Oh, it was just so much fun.
You know what's
seeing
funny?
revelation after revelation,
And then you see that happen throughout the movie. And then you see the time turner happen. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. And I also think it's the first time we get a hint of like stuff that's more morally gray. It really plays with your expectations of good and evil. Like at first you think Sirius is the bad guy, Snape's a douche, Remus is awesome, and you don't even know that Peter Pettigrew's in the equation. Right? And all you know about him is that, oh, he was faithful friend of, you know, he was part of that Padfoot squad there that they had, right?
Yeah.
The Marauders. And then, oh, he's tragically dead. Come to find out by the end of the film, Sirius is an innocent and he's been framed and he's just been like playing a part.
Yeah.
You know, and he's Harry's godfather and he's like actually like awesome and he's Gary Oldman. And then what do you see? Remus, all this time, you think like, oh, okay, he's cool. He's here to look out for the kids, to keep them safe. But he's out here teaching children when he's a fucking werewolf. Like, sorry, buddy. Like, and he wasn't even on his meds. And he went sicko mode. Okay?
He was sicko mode.
So, like, my guy has, like, some form of BPD or something. And then who do you have? And then who's left? So Harry's dead. He's dead. And then you have... yeah, it's a personality nowadays. And then you have finally,
When being dead is a personality trait.
God.
yeah, it's pretty goth. And then you have Pettigrew, right? You have like Rat King himself down there, and then like, and you know he's like just a snivelly little bitch who sold out
Snivelous.
Harry's parents, and has been watching Ron Fapp for like the last 5 years. Like it's just.
We watched a recap recently, me and Anita, and she was like, "Wait, he was a rat this whole time."
That's what I'm like the implications. Like that's what I'm saying. And then Snape, and then Snape. Like all this time you think he's an ass, but then he actually is like there on the defense for the kids. You know, like when shit hits the fan.
Yeah, he shields
He's
them.
there.
Yeah.
And then you keep mistrusting him. That's the
Yeah,
funny part.
yeah,
You're like,
it's so-
oh, you're a bastard. But then you keep forgetting that he did good things like in the past movies.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Or in the past
And you also
stories.
forget all the bad things he's done because then in that moment you're like, no, but he's like, okay, no, like we need you. You're on our side. Like you're keeping us going. You know. So like I don't know. I just thought the whole film was just. It had the perfect balance of like introducing new stuff to the lore without becoming boring, and then also just like, and I think that. And for the movie, at least, the actors, like the kids, I think they actually finally came into their own, and there wasn't really any cringe left. All the cringe finally left their body.
No. Are you forgetting the hairstyles of the fourth movie? What the hell was that wolf haircut that
Hey,
Harry
listen,
had?
Hey, it's not
don't hate that haircut.
It's
bro.
not a phase, okay?
It's a lifestyle. But you know what's funny about the Prisoner of Azkaban movie? It was actually the lowest grossing movie out of all of the series.
Just so sad. Even the way it starts with like what's her face blowing up and like floating into this like
Aunt Marge?
Like yeah, Harry commits his first murder in that movie.
She's flying away like
Harry kills a woman in this movie.
He doesn't. He doesn't kill her.
He blew her up the way like Fiona like blew that frog at the beginning of Shrek 2 and
Frog.
bubble. Anyway,
Anyways, yeah.
I just
So
think it was-
Prisoner of Azkaban.
that's so good.
What about you, Auden?
It's very tough to say, honestly.
Oh wait, close second, Half-Blood Prince. I love that too, but the book.
I was about to say that. Half-Blood Prince for me, because again, like I've only seen all of the movies and I've only read part of the books.
Oh, you gotta read it.
I know. I need to continue. Like I started Goblet of Fire. I didn't get to finish it yet, unfortunately, but I do want to get back to that. Like I know the movie was pretty good, but there's a lot of things I've heard was missing from the books that I want to like catch up on.
For Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, like
So hot.
the Dumbledore line.
There's a Sphinx.
Harry, did you put it in the Goblet of Fire? Harry!
Comparisons.
Harry!
He said calmly.
Don't call me.
Fucking drop kicks McGonagall.
But when it comes to the movies, though, I really appreciate the soundtrack and cinematography of the Half-Blood Prince. For me, that movie really fucking hit me, like on a different level.
Hit diff.
But they're all good, man. They all have their advantages. They all have their good traits. I can't, to be honest, I can't choose because there wouldn't be one without the other.
Okay.
Yep.
What about you, Anita?
I'm very forgetful with the names. I like the fifth one. It just stuck to me. just because I found it to be the most entertaining and I found it to be funny. Every time I tell that to people, everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about? It's like the most depressing one.
Wait, what was that meme?
A meme?
Yeah. Inglorious Summer. What was it? What was her name?
Oh, Umbridge.
Umbridge, Dolores Umbridge.
Yeah, everyone's just like, who's the character you hate the most and why is it Dolores Umbridge? I just found her introduction like to the series so iconic, the way like her implementing all the rules and her like just wanting to be so controlling and
She's an icon.
yeah, she's an icon. Everyone wanting to be so controlling. So I don't have a favorite one. I just wanted to say how like we always think of Harry, but I don't think Harry would be able to complete his missions without like Ron and Hermione.
Okay.
Like Hermione, like he was brave, yeah, but Hermione had like she knew the technicals, and you can't do shit if you don't know
Harry.
you're a wizard. The technicals.
Harry, it's Leviosa. Not Leviosa.
And you don't see many like academically like gifted or not academically gifted. Just
Academically.
oh my god. Yes, clearly I'm hungover. But yeah, people with like so much discipline when it comes to school, you don't see that often in like stories, but also in movies. So it's a very good example for kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I actually really like Order of Phoenix.
Really?
Yeah.
I found it to be so
It's pretty good.
almost pointless.
What do you think?
Really?
The best, it probably has one of my favorite parts in all the movies, which was the training of Dumbledore's army.
Yeah, okay.
Like
sure.
I fucking loved like training
Shoelace.
bits where kids have to train and stuff. I love that stuff.
The montage.
But when it comes to like overall movie, I think Deathly Hallows 2 is probably the best one.
Yeah.
Because like the amount of like reveals and counter reveals is just amazing, and like it's the one I keep going to watch reaction videos to. Because I always want to see people's reaction to be like,
I love watching
It's,
girls
like, oh.
cry about Snape.
yeah, like
1 hour loop.
they're like, oh, I'm happy that Snape died, but like, god damn, like what the fuck? And then they get the tears, like, oh shit, he's gonna see the memories, and then they realize like, oh shit, Snape is like,
Yeah.
and then they're like,
Gonna cry?
basically,
Everyone just has like Tyrone Magnus reactions.
Deathly Hallows Part 2.
This had
but
nothing to do with the
Tyrone
story,
Magnus
though.
reactions.
Yo, Dobby's death though.
Yeah.
Deathly
Dobby.
That
Hallows
was part
Part
1.
Huh?
That was part 1.
Yeah, but like it
Part
ties
one.
into
That was
like
Yeah,
part
yeah.
2
Part
technically,
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like Deathly Hallows Part 2 is like, you know, you guys ever
This is
watched
where
The
it
Big
got stabbed,
Lebowski?
Big Lebowski.
Yeah. You ever
No.
watched it? You ever watched it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
his carpet. It ties the room together. You know, it's like it just like ties. Anyway, I will retract that joke.
That
is
You were
way
gonna say
too
something?
powerful.
I want to ask you a question, but I
Yeah.
also wanted to say, like, did you guys notice how like they completely changed the architecture of Hogwarts for the last film for some reason?
Yeah.
I thought it was like interesting, but also like very.
How dare you stand where he stood?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, but I want to. Why did you think it was so pointless? Or
Well, okay,
things?
so like yes, the forming of Dumbledore's army was so cool. Honestly, like when I was watching it with my girlfriend, rewatching it, like when we were doing our marathons, like it was do it.
Wrong.
It was awesome watching that and getting seeing Zachary from I think it's Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff, I forget. He's a bit of a dick in the in the books, but like you see him
The kid.
No, that's Colin. It's Colin.
Right.
Poor
But who's
Colin.
Zachary?
Zachary is this dick from Hufflepuff, and he's just basically like, "Oh, Harry, you couldn't have done that, could you?" And it's like, "Well, yeah, I did. I fought off
Isn't
100
that
Dementors."
Ron's brother?
Zach?
Zach
No. Percy. It sounds like Percy.
Oh, I don't.
Everyone shits on Percy. Oh my god, I'm so perfect.
But
He's not perfect. He's prefect.
Prefect.
But I dislike it because Harry is a teenager, so he is flawed. Okay, because he's a teenager.
He's the
He is-
worst in
he's a human. Okay, so he is flawed
Brilliant.
in many ways, and he has hormones raging, and he has the Horcrux that is just bumping like a rave in the other room, you know, like against his head. So like he is prone to anger, okay, and he doesn't want to learn from Snape, because arguably, I mean, I can understand why, but he goes against Dumbledore's order to not pay attention the hallucinations and the omens that thing is the viewings that Voldemort is putting into his mind, the seeds that Voldemort is putting into his mind. He does not listen to that, and instead he latches onto those things, and he makes everyone go to the Ministry of Magic. Well, not everyone, but like his close knit, like 5-6 people, go to the Ministry of Magic, and then because he sees his godfather there, or he thought he saw his godfather there, and he is honestly, in my opinion, the reason why Sirius is dead. And I dislike that movie so much because I found that entire scene pointless.
But he insisted.
You're saying pointless in the not in a storytelling term, but like in a why did Harry do that kind of thing?
Yeah, why did Harry do that?
Okay, because I was gonna be like, well, why? How is it pointless? Sirius
No,
died in that movie.
well, no, it's a character development, but
but I think the reason why he kind of gave in more into Voldemort because Voldemort wasn't alive until before that point. Until before that, like until episode 5, or movie or book 5, whatever. Yeah. Voldemort wasn't alive, so he wasn't as powerful. So he wasn't like
he was reborn at the end of Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like at the beginning of Order of the Phoenix, he.
Like this is the first time that he's actually like active while Harry's around.
Yeah.
Well, I understand. Yeah, sorry.
So also probably my fucking was it who was the Minister of Magic?
The
Fudge. Remember when he's like, no, Voldemort's not alive, and then he sees Voldemort and he goes, he's back.
But I do agree that yes, Harry did get trailed off because there was an actual seed that was planted there. He saw through Nagini's eyes. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Arthur getting mauled. I was gonna say.
Are you angry that he dragged his friends into it?
I'm angry that he gave
didn't
into his
drag them.
temptations.
He didn't, that's why, yeah.
I no, because they said we're coming with you. He's always like, I will do this on my own, and then everyone's like, you dumbass.
You dumbass.
No, but because
seriously.
the first vision that he had was
Arthur.
Arthur.
Yes.
What happened with him again? I forgot.
So he
Didn't
gets.
he save him?
He got
saved.
sicked by
He got sicko mode.
Yeah. Okay, but he saved him, right?
Yes, because he witnessed it technically through Nagini's eyes. So with that, going off of that, he felt that everything was true. But Dumbledore himself said, everything that you are seeing, take it with a grain of salt. Because there's yeah, exactly. And he said that there are going to be things there that are not true. And there was a lot more of falsehoods than truths. There was literally one truth. That's it.
Okay, but
that's it.
If let's say, okay, you saw like your friend's dad be tortured like that,
Yeah.
and then you get another vision, and the first time was right.
Yes.
Even take into account what Dumbledore told you. Imagine now you see a father figure. Let's see you see your dad in that same scenario. What would your reaction be?
Well, obviously, I would go there.
But the thing is, like, you're looking at it through a third person outside perspective. Like, you have to keep in mind, like, not only is he a teenager, but
He's
like
15.
But that's why I was saying.
15,
that's why I
and
gave
he-
the teenager thing. Like,
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Oh, sorry, I keep hitting that. But the thing is that yes, he's a teenager. Yes, he gave into temptation. But there were other visions that he was having that were not true. And again, right now, I'm shooting myself in the knee because I cannot remember them right now. But he technically shot Sirius in the knee and retired him for life.
Come on, man.
Because technically it's different in the movies than in the books. In the books, Bellatrix stupefies him, and he falls in through the veil. But like,
in the movie, it's she shoots him with the Vada. Yeah. Rip. I'm gonna say this might be a controversial take. I honestly prefer movie-wise the Harry Potter movies over Star Wars.
movie.
Like-
wait, what do you mean?
Like the series over.
The whole series
Yeah.
in terms of like storytelling and everything. I prefer it over Star Wars.
Because I think,
agree.
yeah, honestly, I see that.
Oh, I
there
thought
was,
I thought
yeah.
this was gonna be.
It's time to do.
No, but Star Wars has a much bigger like.
Story, yes, over encompassing, yeah, but like the problem the problem I find with Star Wars is that because it's like kind of 3 different stories, somewhat interconnected, it makes following it much more difficult. And also, it's for Harry Potter, it's one person writing consistently the whole story, while for Star Wars, it's always it's different directors doing different things, and George Lucas, doing his thing as well. But like,
I do agree because and it wasn't even so much for the there's more stories that you have to keep account for. It was the dialogue. I'm sorry, the episode 2's dialogue is just infuriating.
I don't like sand.
I think just as a regular viewing experience, Harry Potter's a lot more accessible. It relates to a lot more people because it happens it's occurring in the 90s or whatever, the early 20s or the 2000s, and when you have something like that where it's easier for someone to understand, they know they don't have to understand a lot about how the world works or this and that. It's not as imposing to get into, and it has easy to understand themes. I'm not saying there aren't complexities in it, but just as a viewing, if we're just looking at the films, I feel like that's why Harry Potter overall as a product, 1 to 7, part 1 and 2, is a bit. I agree. I'd say it's a better viewing experience than watching Star Wars, because Star Wars can feel disjointed and it's trying to cover decades worth of story. It's trying to cover a story that covers decades, and it's not known for its dialogue or anything. It's just looking at tradition. It's just a modern day myth, and it's just looking at very universal, timeless themes. Whereas Harry Potter, I feel has a lot more of personal touches. There's a lot of time just dedicated to people just being in a room talking to each other.
It's hard to relate to Darth Vader.
Yeah, so that's why it's easy to relate to Voldemort.
Well, I mean, you ever been to a daycare? So then,
oh God! What? Oh God!
Try not to go Order 66 on those fools, man. They're the kids are the fucking worst.
When you pull out your lightsaber, you go,
"Hello there."
that ad with Natalie Portman is what would you do for love?
Klondike Park. Order 66.
No. She did not make a commercial for a Klondike bar.
It wasn't her.
No, you just added that. No, I'm saying.
I don't know Natalie Portman.
I thought Natalie Portman did a Klondike commercial.
Oh, no. Can we just give a little shout out to Robbie Coltrane, Hagrid? Rest in peace, man. The guy literally died 48 hours ago.
And you're doing an accent.
Yeah. Well, 48 hours ago at the time of this recording.
My dad would sometimes I would watch, because as a kid, you kind of watch movies on repeat, right? When we were in the days of DVDs and stuff, it's I would watch the first 3 Harry Potter movies on DVD on repeat, and then my dad is the one who told me that Robbie Coltrane died, and he's like, that Hagrid guy. That Hagrid guy died, and then I was like, oh shit, really? He's like, yeah, and then he just spammed me with a bunch of sad emojis. I was like, why are you sad? He was like, the guy looked like a teddy bear. He treated those kids so nice. I was like, oh. And so my dad does not give a single fuck about Harry Potter. The only franchise he's gotten invested in my entire life was Ted Lasso. Yeah, right. That's the only a long format thing he's ever partaken in. So the fact that Robbie Coltrane's performance made that impression on him 15 years later, I think that's a testament to the man's acting abilities. He was such a warm presence.
Well, yeah, because Hogwarts isn't Hogwarts without Hagrid.
Yeah. Like the video, subscribe to the channel for more. Next week is going to be pretty special. It's going to be Halloween special. Should be really cool. Ooh, spooky. So
we'll be in costume.
Oh.
Allegedly. So, thank you guys for watching, and remember,
It's time to do